In the experience, which the plain man calls seeing or touching, there is always present another thing. Even if we suppose that he is justified in saying, "I touch matter," there is always present the I, as well as the matter. It is always and inevitably matter-mind that he knows. Nobody ever can get away from this I. Nobody can ever see or feel what matter is like apart from the I, which knows it. He may, indeed, infer that this matter exists apart from the I which knows it. He may infer that it exists, and may even go as far to assume that, apart from his seeing or touching, or anybody else's seeing or touching, matter possesses all those qualities which it possesses for his own consciousness. But this is inference, and not immediate knowledge. And the validity or reasonableness of the inference may be disputed. How far it is reasonable or legitimate to attribute to matter as it is in itself the qualities which it has for us must depend upon the nature of those qualities. Let us go on to ask whether the qualities which constitute matter as we know it are qualities which we can reasonably or even intelligibly attribute to a supposed matter in itself, to matter considered as something capable of existing by itself altogether, apart from any kind of conscious experience. In matter, as we know it, there are two elements. There are certain sensations, or certain qualities which we come to know by sensation, and there are certain relations. Now, with regard to sensations, a very little reflection will, I think, show us that it is absolutely meaningless to say that matter has the qualities implied by these sensations, even when they are not felt, and would still possess them, even supposing it never had been and never would be felt by anyone whatever. In a world in which there were no eyes and no minds, what would be the meaning of saying that things are red or blue? In a world in which there were no ears and no minds, there would clearly be no such thing as sound. This is exactly the point at which Locke's analysis stopped. He admitted that the secondary qualities, colors, sounds, tastes, of objects were really not in the things themselves, but in the mind which perceives them. What existed in the things was merely a power of producing these sensations in us, the quality in the thing being not in the least like the sensations which it produces in us. He admitted that this power of producing a sensation was something different from and totally unlike the sensation itself. But when he came to the primary qualities, solidarity, shape, magnitude, and the like, he supposed that the qualities in the thing were exactly the same as they are for our minds. If all mind were to disappear from the universe, there would henceforth be no red and blue, no hot and cold, but things would still be big or small, round or square, solid or fluid. Yet, even with these primary qualities, the reference to mind is really there just as much as in the case of the secondary qualities. Only the fact is not quite so obvious. And one reason for this is that these primary qualities involve much more glaringly and unmistakably than the secondary something which is not mere sensation, something which implies thought and not mere sense. What do we mean by solidity, for instance? What we mean partly is that we get certain sensations from touching the object. Sensations of touch and sensations of what is called the muscular sense. Sensations of muscular exertion and of pressure resisted. Now, so far as that is what solidity means, it is clear that the quality in question involves as a direct reference to our subjective feelings as the secondary qualities of color and sound. But something more than this is implied in our idea of solidity. We think of external objects as occupying space, and spatiality cannot be analyzed away into mere feelings of ours. The feelings of touch, which we derive from an object, come to us one after the other. No mental reflection upon sensations, which come one after the other in time, could ever give us the idea of space, if they were not spatially related from the first. It is of the essence of spatiality that the parts of the object shall be thought of as existing side by side, outside one another. But this side-by-sideness, this outsidedness, is, after all, a way in which the things present themselves to a mind. Space is made up of relations. And what is the meaning of relations, apart from a mind which relates, or for which the things are related? If spatiality were a quality of the thing in itself, it would exist no matter what became of other things. It would be quite possible, therefore, that the top of this table should exist without the bottom. Yet everybody surely would admit the meaninglessness of talking about a piece of matter, no matter how small, be it an atom or the smallest electron conceived of by the most recent physical speculation, which had a top without a bottom, or a right-hand side without a left. This space-occupying quality, which is the most fundamental element in our ordinary conception of matter, is wholly made up of the relation of one part of it to another. Now, can a relation exist except for a mind? As it seems to me, the suggestion is meaningless. Relatedness only has a meaning when thought of in connection with a mind which is capable of grasping or holding together both terms of the relation. The relation between point A and point B is not in point A or in point B taken by themselves. It is all in the between. Betweenness, from its very nature, cannot exist in any one point of space, or in several isolated points of space or things in space. It must exist only in some one existent, which holds together and connects those points. And nothing, as far as we can understand, can do that except a mind. Apart from mind, there can be no relatedness. Apart from relatedness, no space. Apart from space, no matter. It follows that apart from mind, there can be no matter. If there is nothing in matter as we know it, which does not obviously imply mind, if the very idea of matter is unintelligible apart from mind, it is clear that matter can never have existed without mind. What then, it may be asked, of the things which no human eye has ever seen or even thought of? Are we to suppose that a new planet comes into existence for the first time when first it sails into the telescope of the astronomer, and that science is wrong in inferring that it existed not only before that particular astronomer saw it, but before there were any astronomers or other human or even animal intelligences upon this planet to observe it? Did the world of geology come into existence for the first time when some 18th century geologist first suspected that the world was more than 6,000 years old? Are all those ages of past history, when the Earth and the Sun were but nebulae, a mere imagination? Or did that nebulous mass come into existence thousands or millions of years afterwards, when Kant or Laplace first conceived that it had existed? The supposition is clearly self-contradictory and impossible. If science be not a mass of illusion, this planet existed millions of years before any human, or, so far as we know, any animal minds existed to think its existence. And yet I have endeavored to show the absurdity of supposing that matter can exist except for a mind. It is clear, then, that it cannot be merely for such minds as ours that the world has always existed. Our minds come and go. They have a beginning, they go to sleep, they may, for aught that we can immediately know, come to an end. At no time does any one of them, at no time do all of them together, apprehend all that there is to be known. We do not create a universe, we discover it piece by piece, and, after all, very imperfectly. Matter cannot intelligibly be supposed to exist apart from mind, and yet it clearly does not exist merely for our minds. Each of us knows only one little bit of the universe. All of us together do not know the whole. If the whole is to exist at all, there must be some one mind which knows the whole. The mind, which is necessary to the very existence of the universe, is the mind that we call God.